what a lot of contractors do. They're so focused on the trade itself. And I'm like, that is secondary. Once you're really there for people, you build meaningful relationships. Business is all about adding value, not what I can take. It's what I can give. And I know that the rest will play out because this is where you really add value to people's life.
Welcome back to An Entrepreneur's Vibes, the podcast that gives insight into the minds of visionary entrepreneurs and business leaders. Brought to you by The Right Direction, a leading professional and technical writing company based in North America. Each episode, we explore the stories and experiences of those who dared to dream, took the leap, and built their own empires. Join us in uncovering the secrets to success and lessons learned along the way. So if you're just starting out your entrepreneurial journey or you're already a seasoned business pro, you'll find inspiration, knowledge, and good vibes right here. Today, we are joined by the founder and CEO of 911 Restoration, a nationally recognized disaster restoration franchise ranked among the top in the U.S. by Entrepreneur Magazine. From humble beginnings, our guest has transformed his small operation into a thriving franchise with locations across the country. As a passionate innovator and problem solver, our guest also founded Milestone SEO and Gazingle, a cutting-edge CRM platform for home service businesses. Today, we'll talk about his story of perseverance, mindfulness, and purpose-driven growth. Welcome to the show, Idan Shpizear. Tell us about the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey. Was business something you had to formally learn, or was it something that you honed through experience?
So I never really thought about as myself as an entrepreneur. I just kind of looked for opportunities to make money. And as a kid, if I bought shoes for somebody for a good price, and then I sold it to friends from school. And at one point I sold like a certain food in the area that I lived in. So I always looked for opportunities, but it's not something that I learned through school. I barely finished high school. It was just something that I naturally gravitated towards.
I think people do have that entrepreneurial spark in them. They just find ways to sell things, or they have ideas that they can build from the ground up. And you seem to be the type of person who does that. So tell us, where do you think you got the skills necessary to grow and scale a business?
Just as when I started as a carpet cleaner, I moved to the US, not really speaking the language. I cleaned carpet for some time, and I just saw the opportunity of okay, wow, there's the bigger opportunity in the restoration space, the water damage, mold, and fire. So I explored that. And I had the same thing in my mind. How can I add more value to the people in front of me? Right. So I did it through the carpet cleaning. Then I discovered the restoration, right? I didn't know anything about the water, mold, and fire. And then to grow the company, right? At one point, we grew from 250 to north of 3 million in a very short period of time. The learning really came as we just dealt with things, right? So suddenly going from me and 2 other people to 30 people in the office.
Mm-hmm.
How do I deal with it? How do I even have a meeting with them? How do I hold people accountable? So one of the things that I did is every time that I kind of have a new problem or issue or opportunity, really is a better way to look at it, is I just dove into the information just to understand how to solve that issue, right? So for example, how do I go from 2 people to 30 people in the office? I start looking online and reading books and finding people with this type of experience and okay, how do I run a meeting?
Mm-hmm.
How do I start? Where do I end? How do I hold people accountable? Right. So that was kind of, okay, my next step. And then I'm like, okay, but how do I create more clarity? Because I see people are confusing, and I came from a place of I'm doing everything in the business, and now I need to delegate, and there's different responsibilities. So how do I bring more clarity? So now job descriptions, right? So it all sounds like it's more like small steps over a long period of time, but at one point you see that this is how you're learning how to build and scale the business as you go through building and scaling the business.
Mm-hmm. It really does
right?
sound like a journey.
That's more of a natural way for me to learn,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm not the one that will sit and spend 3 years going to, college, university. It's just not my thing, right? So it's just, for me, it's just, let's get going. Let's stay aware enough. Let's pay attention to what's happening in front of us, right? That is a skill by itself that takes time to develop. but then you just solve things and you go through things as they happen.
It's learning along the way. That's
Yeah.
really amazing. And could you share with us, did you have any specific mentors that you learned from or any experiences that shaped your entrepreneurial mindset?
Yeah, I had luckily I had many mentors because I always looked for people that already been through what I'm going through, right? And at different parts in my journey, I just different people that I brought in. But I have one mentor that I met kind of early on when I was dealing with SEO and marketing and on and on. He's about 30 years older than me, and he already built a few companies, and he became kind of my mentor, and we built great relationship, and we talk once a month or even twice a month. And it was really what I loved about it, that he really put the truth in front of me, like this is really what's going on. And he's the type of guy that will tell me, Dan, you're completely off here, you are not seeing what is in front of you, right? Because when you build a business, a lot of people around you like, you are great, you're, especially when you're paying everybody, right? You're great, this is amazing, that you're doing it right. So I think I was very, very blessed to find somebody that will be like, no, Idan, you're completely off. You're not seeing it. You're
Hmm.
being really stupid right now, the way you're looking at the business. Can we
Hmm.
explore other perspective? And what it did for me is really help me. First of all, I appreciate that somebody is being straightforward with me and not trying to, be nice about it, because I can take it. I want to grow. I want to evolve, but he also brought in a lot of different perspectives, right? So this is one of the things that I adopted pretty early, is like, okay, I know that I see it this way, but I'm sure there is four other ways to see it. So now when something came up, an opportunity or a challenge, or one of the things that I was able to do after some time is like, okay, I see that that's my innate way of looking at it. Let me explore now four different ways that I can look at the same thing.
Hmm.
And that usually will bring a lot of new opportunities and a lot of new ways of dealing with things. So we're not stuck in the same patterns and kind of repeating everything again and again. You can evolve much, much faster.
Absolutely. I agree with that sense that you need other people's perspective to see outside of what you would usually see. Like you were saying earlier, as the CEO, obviously you have to be the one to hold your people accountable. But at the same time, it's amazing that you had a mentor who held you accountable and gave you other ideas as well. I wanted to pivot and ask you about how you started 9/11 restoration. What was the idea that sparked this? And how did you transform your carpet cleaning business into a full service restoration company?
Yeah. So how it started. Well, clean carpet for about a year, brand new here in the country. And about 8 months in, we got a phone call for a flooded house. And we went out there. We didn't know anything about restoration, blowers and dehumidifiers and kind of the full scope of work. The only thing that we knew how to do is extract the water, because that's the only machine that we had. So we went out there, we extract the water, we charged $600 for us. It was a lot of money. And as we're almost done extracting the water and spending some time with the homeowners because he was all stressed out, there's another company that shows up that the insurance company sent in, and they brought in blowers and dehumidifiers and starting to pull the carpet out and moving furnitures. And I'm like, what's going on here? I thought that we're just going to extract the water and let the carpet dry by itself after a few days. And then I discovered that they charge about $15,000. So now my $600 is still exciting, very thankful, but the 15,000 sounds much, much better. So I saw that part. And there's another thing that I noticed is that the homeowner is going through an emotional disaster and the company is not really paying attention to how the homeowner is feeling, right? So that was like my first kind of insight into this thing. And then about a month after, we got another call, and I kind of see the same thing again and again over the next 3, 4 months. And at that point, I'm says, okay, I want to learn everything about the other side of the business. I want to learn about the water damage and the blowers and the humidifiers. So I spend time learning and understanding how to work with insurance companies and how to build insurance company and on and on. But then still, we did mainly carpet cleaning, right? And at that point, every time that we had an extra, few $100, we just invested in buying equipment. So we started buying blowers and buying humidifiers slowly, slowly over time. And then at that point, I went back to the guy that we work for, the carpet cleaning company, and says, listen, I want to do more of the water damage. I don't want to do so much of the carpet cleaning anymore. And he was very focused on the carpet cleaning. So at one point, we just kind of left and started our own thing, taking our company with us. And at that point, we average about 250K a year. right? We built relationship with managements and on and on. And then one night we're sitting out for dinner, and I'm hearing two people speaking about how to advertise online, Google AdWords, and you put ad online and people will call you. Now, this was around 2003, when people thought that the internet will come and go, is not something that will stay with us. I went back that night and I spent hours online trying to figure out how to put my first ad. And after I figured it out, a day after, I got my first phone call. And then every day after that, I generate a call for water damage. This is how we grew the business from 250 to north of 3 million. And that happened really fast. That's why I gave the example how we went from me and two other people to suddenly 30 people in the office. Yeah, so that's really how we grew into the restoration space. Mm-hmm. And the reason that we grew into the franchise space is because the end of 2005 is where Katrina happened. Katrina was the huge flood in New Orleans. So we went out there because we wanted to see how we can help. There was a huge devastation, and we wanted to have the experience working in large loss type of environment, right? It was a huge mess. So we went out there and we kind of, beside the devastation, see what people are going through. There was many other restoration company that came down there because there was so much work, but we weren't competing with each other because there was work for everybody, right? And we even gave work to each other because there was a huge waiting list. But at night, we spent time with other restoration contractor. And what I was a little bit shocked to see is that I'm brand new in this country. I'm doing over $3 million. There is people there that been in this business now for 15, 20 years, and they're doing about $600,000-$700,000 in sales. And I'm like, what's going on here? Why they're not growing the business? Because they do have the dream of growing the business. And what I notice is that most people are really focused on the trade itself. So they will talk to me for hours about the dehumidifiers and the blowers and how they build the insurance company and how they set up the van. And in my mind is, but what's the strategy? What's the vision? How are you going to scale? How are you generating leads? Right? And I noticed that they're not spending enough time talking about that. So I start asking them, what if when we're done here and you go back to your state or your town, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you with the lead generation, and I'm going to help you how to think more about on the business and how to grow the business and not be lost in the business. And I can help you get to 1.5 and $2 million. Right? So that kind of the idea was born through great people. Can we do something that is 1 + 1 = 5? If we can collaborate, can we create something better here? So I went back to LA. I'm like, I thought about it. This is a great idea. Let's give it a try. So I tried with one person and it worked well. Then a second person, a third. And then at one point, I had 10 different people that I had a license agreement with. And it's working very well. I'm able to help them grow their businesses, and they're doing great. So the lawyer that wrote the license agreement for me told me, Dan, listen, you're becoming a franchise. You cannot keep doing the license agreement. So I'm like, okay. How do we go through the process of becoming a franchise now? So that was a new thing for me, learning the FDD and the franchise agreement, and what it means to be a franchise, and how do we scale a franchise, right? So it's all these steps happen is really recognizing an opportunity and seeing, can I add more value here?
What I'm getting is you were trying to find the value, right, in what you were doing. And from what I can gather, you had a very client-centric approach, and that's probably why you were a lot more successful than the other business who were doing the exact same thing and offering the exact same service that you were doing. Could you share with us, like, what were the strategies that helped you establish a strong brand presence? Because I think if you are going to be a franchise, you have to have something that sets you apart from everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. So really taking that into account, that it's all about customer experience. When you really think about it and understand what your client is going through, I was very clear to me that we are not the water, mold, and fire damage services that we do are secondary. What's really important is how we're impacting our client, right? So I look at it from my client is not really calling me. I mean, he is calling me to come out there and dry his house, but he's really calling me because he have an issue and he doesn't know how to deal with it. And he feels like life is upside down right now. Like, think about it. A mom gets up in the morning, walk downstairs. Downstairs is flooded. She worries about, I need to get my kids up. I need to feed them. I need to take them to school, right? And I need to get a company to come and help me to go through this process. So when we get out there, for her, it's like, can you just help me survive this thing? Can you help me see like how do I go through this right now? Right. So for me it was okay. So what is it that we really mean to our clients? We mean that we can bring a fresh start to them while they go through this disaster. Right. So for us, the fresh start that is every moment carry unlimited amount of potential. Right. So even if you feel like you're going through a terrible thing, there's always a different perspective. There's always a way to look at the light at the end of the tunnel. Yes, my house is a mess right now, but I'm going to get a new carpet and new paint, and things will look so much better at the end. Yes, my house is a mess right now, but I have a company that just arrived that will help me, that I can still go through my day. I can still find a way to feed my kids and get them to school, right? So I made that as part of who we are as a company. So we are the fresh start company. And what it means is our goal when we're getting in front of our clients, our goal is to bring a fresh start into their day. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's not
really
about
beautiful.
the water damage, the fire, or the mold. It's about us showing up and recognize there's a human being in front of me and he's going through an emotional disaster. And I'm going to be that person for him. Right. So that's how we get to the culture. Even now we have commercial that we're saying that we hope that you never get to hire us. Because if you need to hire us, that means it's not a good day for you. Mm-hmm. Now, we're still going to be there and do our best to serve and work for you. But we recognize that this is a terrible day if you're going out through a flood or a mold or fire damage or any of those, right? And part of the training, the way we make it very real is really simple training for our inspector, technician, and business owner. Like when you get to somebody's house, put aside for a second everything else that you worry about. Payroll, family, anything. Just put it aside. And just when you walk into this house, just be there for them. Really listen to what they're telling you, right? Because what a lot of contractors do, they're so focused on the trade itself. So they will walk into a house, say hi, and then immediately go and and look at the area that is affected. And I'm like, that's a secondary. First, spend time with the person in front of you. Ask question, shut up, listen, see what is it that they're trying to reach, and help them reach that goal, right? So we took the same behavior when we go and build relationship with managers and management companies and insurance adjuster. One of the big thing in training is like stop pitching. It's not about our story, it's about their story. Let's hear from them. What is it that you're trying to achieve, right? Sometime I'll go and build relationship and meet somebody that manage a building, and if I really listen, I know that his goal is to get a raise or he wants to move and manage a bigger building. I'm going to try to help him achieve that. Everything else is secondary, because once you're really there for people, you build meaningful relationship. For me, business is all about adding value, right? Not what I can take, is what I can give. And I know that the rest will play out, because this is where you really add value to people's life.
It's a really beautiful vision. And I think that's what really separates the really successful entrepreneurs from those who just want to create a business for profit, because you really ask yourself, like, what value can I give to these people? You're not just there to clean up after a disaster. You're really there to restore their lives, essentially. And you were talking earlier about Hurricane Katrina. Was that the determining factor for the franchising of the business? And how was that transition?
That's something that clearly opened my eyes to see there's great guys out there and we can do 1 + 1 = 5, right? That's really what I'm looking for. If I'm working with people, new businesses or investment or anything else that I'm in, can we build something greater if we work together, right? That's always on my mind. So yeah, that was really opening my eyes to see, okay, we can create collaboration here. We can build something out of it. So that's really what triggered the idea of the franchise.
Earlier, you were telling me that you were able to scale the business because you had learned how to launch your own ads. And your other business is a completely different industry from 9/11 restoration. So from restoration company, you have an SEO company, and these are very different industries. But if you think about it, the way that you scaled was that you also helped your franchisees with their marketing. So was that something that came hand in hand? What was the motivation to even create Milestone SEO and Gazingle?
So right before we became a franchise, even people saw what we're doing for our own company, right? How we're able to make sure that our site shows up on first page and we get videos out there and we create really, really good content. So people just approach us. Can you do it for me as well? Right. So just
Mm-hmm.
people, we didn't even sell the service. People just came to buy the service.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So at one point I says, okay, if, we're pretty new then, it was 2004, 2005. We kind of started the marketing company at the same time. Yeah. And our client grew just because I don't think there was a lot of companies that offered that service, but it's not so much that I sold SEO. I did it for my own company. People saw that it's working very well and people just start reaching out. Can you build a website for me? Can you do that for me? Can you do that for me? And I saw it as an opportunity for, okay, so I can help these companies grow, but at the same time, I can start hiring real talent into the marketing company because now it's generating revenue by itself. So I was able to grow and bring great people for the marketing company as a marketing company. And I became an agency when I worked with Google. So now I have more clients and I have my own company. And that gave me access into more tools and more insight. Because now I'm not managing campaign just for my company. I'm managing campaign to 50 or 100 other clients. And I have great relationship with Google. And now I have access to all the data. And I'm able to bring great talent. I'm able to invest in great tools, right? And it's just helping everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then at one point when the franchise grew, I said, okay, now we need to really focus on our franchisees. So slowly, I start saying goodbye to our clients and Milestone SEO. And I made that as a department that supports just our franchisees. But the ability to scale, kind of going back to your question, I see it as if you're selling, franchise opportunity, or you're selling water damage, or you're selling SEO services or other services, it really goes back to understanding who is my client, like who is really my client, right? I go far as, whiteboard and I'm drawing the clients and I'm giving them names and I'm saying, this is their hobbies, this is what they do. That's why they buy. That's why they're not buying. What's their buying cycle? And where do I have opportunities to meet them on their buying cycles? And where can we start the communication, right? And at one point, I know that they will become a buyer, right? So if you take the same principle, the same kind of base, and you take it to any business that you're in, you're going to see it's kind of the same process. Just the words, the creative, everything else change, but overall it's the same process.
I think it's really unique what you've been able to build. So are you saying that now that you only offer SEO services to all your other franchisees?
Yes,
Wow, that's
just our
amazing.
franchises.
That's
Yeah.
really amazing because some people they offer a franchise and they have a one-time fee and then they give them the resources and then it's up to you. But you really not only do that, you also help them scale up alongside with you. Would you say
Oh
that
yeah.
SEO and Gazingle are complementary to 9/11 restoration?
Yes, yes. So we have kind of from everything that we've been through. So if a new franchisee came in, he gets a website, the website is optimized. We create a lot of the content for him, the keyword research. There's a lot of work that goes into building a website that match to the area that he is in.
Hmm.
And of course, we want to bring some of the franchisee personality and kind of make it shine on the website so people really feel that it's a local guy that is part of our franchise, right? So we are really in the community as part of the community, right? So there's the SEO packages, there's the pay-per-lead packages that franchisees can be part of, and then there is the entire tracking system, right? So how we generate the leads, where did they call from? Do we track the entire process, go through our own dispatch system that is part of Gazingle and then goes into their management of their business, right? That they can do over their phone, the leads that coming in, they manage the leads, collecting information. It's all now ties together, right? And that's really all the tool, all the pieces that comes with the support that we're providing of really how you can go and build a good business, healthy
Hmm.
business.
I think it's an amazing network that you've created. How would you say that Gazingle addresses the unique challenges faced by businesses in the home service industry?
So first of all, it's helped them be a lot more organized, right? You will surprise that there's still a lot of businesses there that managing their business with pen and paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just writing everything down and having notes everywhere and on and on. So first of all, it's very, very important to use a system today. as the new generation comes in, they're easy for them to adopt a new system. So organized, there is a process that is built into the system, right? So what do I do when I get the lead? What do I do after I meet with the homeowner, right? How do I collect all the information? How can I share the information with the insurance company or with the management company, whoever it is? Everything is built into the system. So now it's much easier to control, it's much easier to work with our clients, it's much easier to give updates. So if we work with a large company, so everything is in one place. And it's really built in a way that the right process is built into the system.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because there is a certain cadence that you need to follow to really be efficient when you manage the job. And you're also able to see how many hours your team spend on a certain project. So now we are able to see the profit per job, right? We are able to see the source of the leads and what they converted to, right? When you build a business, it's important. I mean, it's the entire journey, but starting the business with the right foundation of understanding that there is a process in the business, right? Because when you start a business, most of the time, if not all the time, the business owner will do a lot of things, right? So we forget that there is processes, there is a system in place. Because it does everything, it doesn't really look at it from an objective place of, wait a second, this is how much time I'm spending on that, this is how many leads I'm able to generate, this is how many leads I'm able to convert into business, how much profit do I make per job the end of the month. You'll be surprised how many business owners just don't know. They're just running around all day long, just working harder and harder and harder. And it's very hard for them to scale the business, to work on the business, as not in the business all the time, right? So part of the support, part of what we offer is really trying to pull them out of the day-to-day and like, let's look at some metrics. Let's see what works well so you can build on top of it. Let's see what is not working for you so we can transform, change, update.
I think that's really interesting that you bring up being able to leverage technology in order to organize and scale the business, because something that I wanted to ask you as well is, what do you think is the role of technology and what does it play in the future of restoration and home services industry? Do you think in the near 5 or 10 years, there are going to be future innovations that you would be open to adapting?
Oh, absolutely. I think AI is already playing a huge part of it. Maybe I don't know about how soon robots will be able to get out there and do the drying out and extracting the water and on and on. I think that will take time because every job is very unique.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't know. Maybe it will happen in 5 years. I see technology as something that is here to empower us, right? It's kind of like a partner to us, right? Things that maybe before it will take me a week to get done if I need to write and collect documents and look through data and analyze it and then create a summary and then work on it with my team. Today I can work with AI and get it done in sometime in 1 hour, right? So something that was supposed to take me a week or two, now I can do in 1 hour. Something that will take my team 3 hours, now we can do in 2 minutes, right? There is a level of support that we really want to bring into the market, right? So we want to really create a new standard of the level of support that we're offering our national account. And things that we can do today with AI are is completely game changers, right? So it's the way we communicate, the way we can go through data and understand what's the key points and how we can improve, the way we can analyze data and find opportunities, right? The way we can go through. I mean, sometimes we'll get mountain of information of when the job started and ends and what happened in between and before. It will take a person 2-3 hours to go through the information to create a certain summary and send it to the account. Today with AI we can do it in literally 10 seconds, so it's really empowering.
I agree. Like being able to leverage, especially AI today. And you know what? There are Tesla robots now. So I think maybe 2 to 3 years they'll be able to do what you guys do. I mean, it's amazing what technology can do. But you know
Yeah.
what? Something that I really wanted to ask you is like your personal strategies into balancing and managing multiple businesses while continuing to innovate with the newer technologies that are surrounding us.
Yeah, it just have great people around me.
Mhm.
That's really finding great people, creating great environment so people can grow within it, right? We all just keep growing and keep evolving. That's really what I think. I mean, once we have a vision for something or something that is excites us, and we want to see, wow, if we can bring that into the world, that will be amazing. Can we find a few other people that are excited about that as well? Can we find the type of people that we do 1 + 1 = 5? Right? So when you have that thought, because a lot of people have this thought of like, no, I need to keep everything for myself, right? It's mine, it's my idea, I'm going to own it. No, I'm not going to bring anybody in. Let's work on it together. That's my approach to it,
Mhm.
right? Because it's very hard to build a business. Just getting somewhere that is meaningful, it's amazing by itself. Just the journey of working with the right people and have great relationship, meaningful relationship, right? Evolving together, seeing where we've been 5 years compared to today. Not necessarily just the material success, also the personal growth. I'm huge on personal growth, on really understanding what's happening here, right?
Mhm.
So for me to collaborate with people and work on different opportunities, I think that that's why we're here. That's how we evolve as people.
That's amazing that you bring up that you're very into personal growth. And I really do resonate with a lot of the things that you said. You know, you can make big strides by yourself, surely. But when you have a team and you're all together working for a singular goal, you can make bigger strides together. And
Yeah.
I think that's so amazing that you do that for your business and for yourself. And since we're talking about like personal growth, I wanted to ask you some questions about spiritual principles in your entrepreneurial growth. How does mindfulness and spiritual principles influence your approach to leadership and decision making?
Oh, in a huge way. At one point during my kind of journey, I realized that we're not really aware. I mean, the way I kind of grew up and everything, I didn't really aware of really what's happening here. There is, people talk about the unconscious and there's different forces that plays as we go. I just start realizing there's a certain patterns that if we're not aware of, this pattern will just run our life, right? So just being more aware of the patterns by recognizing that whatever happened to us in our life happening for us and not to us, because it's really just reflecting back the patterns that we hold, right? So by changing my view on what's happening for me and not to me, that helped me release a lot of patterns, right? So now I'm more present and I'm more aware. So when I'm working with people, I'm recognizing if they're operating by certain patterns that they are not aware of. So that you're not judging people, you're more accepting people, right? Because I understand that if you behave in a certain way and that is not nice, or it's not really, you're not even aware of it, you're just reacting to certain things in your environment, right? So when you hold space, when you're not being judgmental to other people, now you create a space that people can say, okay, I'm seeing how I'm reacting, and Idan is not just getting back at me, he have like a different way that he's holding space and the way the interaction is going. Oh, I can start now recognizing my own pattern. So when you do it with a group of people, and that's why I say when you see the growth of people after a few years or 5 years, when people are learning how to release their pattern and kind of going through their own evolution, massive changes, massive, because this become the most important thing, right? The financial success and everything else is basically as a result of us releasing certain patterns and starting to live our life from within out and not just reacting to everybody around us, right? So that's bring a lot more of alignment into everything that we do. So alignment is emotion, thoughts, our action, everything is aligned, aligning compared to like a bigger north star that we all see and we all share. So the entire interaction is different, right? Compared to before, I kind of realized this thing over a period of time. Before, it's very judgmental. Like, he said it. Why did he say it? What is he thinking? Right? And you start changing your behavior to try to fit in for what other people are thinking. Right? So you're really canceling your own uniqueness just because you're trying to fit in and you're trying to be accepted by other people. But when you realize that a lot of these things are falling away, So now you're operating from a different place. So the entire interaction with people and what is it that we're trying to achieve and how we're going to get there come from a very aligned place.
I
Make
think
sense?
that's really, yes, that's absolutely beautiful because when you're mindful of your actions and you're not just reacting to what people are doing and you're honing in, you're basically you're taking reins of your emotions, you're able to think clearer. And
Yeah.
you manage a huge business and you are essentially responsible for a lot of other people. You can't be a reactive person. You can't just operate on emotion on a very surface level. You have to
Yeah.
hold it in. And I think that's one of the power and that you hold, and that's what makes you a very unique entrepreneur. For some of the people out there listening to us, could you share specific mindful practices that have helped you as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, of course. So the easiest one, and I think it's one of the most effective one because I've been sharing it with a lot of people, is just bring as many moment of awareness during the day, right? And a moment of awareness is can be, because so many. Let me go back a little bit. So give some background to it. So an average human think around 60,000 thoughts a day. That means that we are constantly in a stream of thoughts. We're not really seeing what is in front of us. We're just experiencing life through the stream of thoughts that we constantly have, right? So most of the time we are lost out there. We're not really seeing what is in front of us. And there is a way just to step out of the stream of thoughts, right? And to step out is just even for 30 seconds, you just sit there, you're just like saying, okay, I'm right here. I'm sitting on this chair. How I'm feeling? How is my breathing? I'm in a good mood or in a bad mood? And as I'm reactive right now, or I'm proactive and I'm working on what is it that I want to work. You just ask yourself simple question just to bring yourself back here. Get out of this reactiveness, right? Because we are so conditioned to be externally focused. So what we do, we really recondition ourselves to go back within, to go back to right here, right now. Do it as often as you can. I have some people, and I did the same thing myself. At one point, when I understand the power of just getting back to myself, I set up on my calendar every half an hour, there was a quick beep on my phone, and it was just for 30 seconds. So if I'm driving, I'm talking to somebody, whatever it is that's going on, I get this beep on my phone. I stop for a second, back here. Okay, I'm here. This is what's going on. I'm feeling okay. I'm not feeling okay. I'm reactive. I'm not reactive. Even sometimes just pay attention to your breath, to your breathing for 5 seconds, and then just go back to life and just do it again and again and again and again and again. After 30 days, you're gonna have you developing a muscle to go back to anchor yourself in right now, in right here, right? And what people telling me, and I had exactly the same experience myself. After 30 days, and then you practice it again and again and again and again, you're really building the muscle. You're gonna notice when you start being lost in a thought, especially the not healthy one, what they're looking at me and what they think it's me, and I'm terrible and I'm not good enough, and that you're gonna be able to step out of the thought much, much faster. So now you start to break down the old patterns because you're able to step out of them, right? When we sit there and we're just starting with the self-talk of it's not happening for me and why it's terrible and it's the government and it's the states and it's my neighbor, it's that. What we actually do, we playing a victim. We give our power to everybody around us. So we are powerless because it's because of you, or because of him, or because of that. And this is, as we think about it more and more and more, it just becomes a bit bigger and a deeper part of your identity. This is how we experience life. But the point is to step out of this stream of thoughts and create a new stream of thought. I'm right here. I'm alive. I'm breathing. That's good. There's two people that are dying every second. Two people just die. Two people just die. Two people just die. I'm still here. I'm breathing. I'm good. How I'm feeling. Okay, I like the way I'm directing my life today. I like the action that I'm taking right now. Or the fresh start, I can change it right now. And this is the power of the simple moment of awareness.
That's really beautiful. Those sounds a lot like grounding techniques to me and checking in with yourself. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
really beautiful way to live. And truly, when you practice that, you are able to make new muscle memory essentially, and you can catch yourself whenever you're having negative thoughts. And it's a beautiful practice. And I want to ask you, is this something that you encourage among your team members as well?
Absolutely, yes. So I bring it up to a lot of the conversations, especially when people came to me, much less now, but a lot more in the past. It's like, I just been in a meeting and this is what they told me, and now I'm feeling this and I'm down. I'm like, okay, just stop for a second. You notice that that person said two words to you and he completely stole your day. What do you mean he done? But he upset at me. And I'm like, I understand. But let's all down for a second here. He said two words. You gave him the power to have that power over you. So now your day is going to be now the most famous person in your day for the next 24 hours just because he said two words to you. Like, I never thought about it this way. Okay. You see how you came back to your alignment right now? Now do it again and again every half an hour.
Mm.
So that's usually what I will do.
And since we're already talking about spiritual principles, is that also the same thing that inspired you to write your book, How to Transform Your Mindset and Become a Self-Made Success Story, Get Out of the Truck?
What's really inspiring me, I didn't even think that I'm going to write a book. It's really when COVID started and everybody were, in a sense of fear and closing off, I said, you know what? I want to bring a different example. So instead of shrinking, I want to expand. So how can I really stretch myself and show my team and people around me that we can push even harder and we add more value and not just shrink off? So I said, you know what? I'm going to start writing down, not thinking that I'm going to write a book or anything. I'm just going to start writing down some principle that I can offer my team because I never thought that I'm actually this book for me to write, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I to write a book? So I just wrote like a few sentences, and then I came a day after and I wrote a few more, and then a day after and I wrote a few more, and then 2 weeks in, I'm like, wow, okay, that started looking like a book. So I was surprised, and I just kept with it, right? And after some time, I gave it to a few people to read, and they're like, Idan, this is really good stuff you got here. I'm like, okay. And get out of the track was exactly as we started the conversation, speaking with franchisees and other small business owner. I used to use these words, just like you need to get out of the track and work on your business. Like enough with this track all the time. Like it's great, you got your experience, but get out of the track. And then I noticed that other people start using the sentence, just get out of, I need to get it done, I need to get out of the track, I need to get out of the track. So I said, you know what? Let me just connect both of them and start doing this thing. So it was more really to stretch myself, add more value. Yeah.
That's amazing. And everyone, if you're looking to transform your mindset, you can always get Idan's book. It's available online. You can get it from Amazon as well. And Idan, I just don't want to take too much of your time, but I want to ask you just one last question before I let you go. What's the most important piece of advice that you can give to someone starting their own business?
Get moving, like go, take action. That's one of the big things that I see out there. People are thinking and trying to figure out everything before they even start, and nobody figure out everything. It's like you put yourself in a situation that you're never going to get out of. I had a meeting with somebody 2 weeks ago that is thinking about his business for a year and a half, and he's trying to get every answer and know exactly what's going to happen. I told him, listen, we don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow. You should just get going already, and then you're going to see, you're going to discover as you go. Of course, have a vision, have some clarity, but don't try to figure everything out. And the second part is pay attention to what you're paying attention to, right? It's we're bringing awareness into our everyday. It really gives people freedom, real freedom, right? They will find their joy and a level of happiness regardless of their external success, right? So awareness and action, I think this is the two things that if you just take action every day. I had this thing that I decided a while ago that every day I will do something that will move my business forward. Every day, not reactive. I do something that will move. If it's a blog post, even if a meeting, if it's reaching out to somebody, but every day I'll do something that will move the business forward. And people think that that is very small, but compounding effect, after 6 months, after 12 months, you get a lot of things done.
Thank you so much, Idan, for being here and taking the time to grace our podcast and sharing your wisdom to our listeners. It's been a great session. And of course, thank you to everyone who's been listening us today. This has been your host, Patricia. And remember, for all your professional, business, and technical writing needs, there's only one way to go, and that's with the right direction. I'll see you guys soon.